You can find me on Instagram at All Steak No Sizzle. That's one word. Hey, make sure you check out the Reality Era News page on Facebook where we talk wrestling. The big topic right now is probably the Fiend.
Yeah, I would say the Fiend is definitely it because you got half the people love it and half the people still don't get it.
Right, but we'll talk more about that later on in the show and in their group. So join Reality Era News and make sure you check out ko3cpod.com and find all of our social media and all that good stuff. Kyle,
you can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Detroit Knockout at Detroit NOKOUT. Make sure you're following the show Knockouts and Three Counts podcast on Facebook at KO3CPod, Twitter and Instagram KO3CPod.com, and make sure you check out our YouTube and subscribe to that joint Knockouts and Three Counts. And before we get to our guest, we're actually going to help Brett out because after he goes and wins him this gold belt on Friday,
yes, sir,
he might need to go buy him one of these. So if you're in the market for a house, check out our sponsors at Stransky & Company. Stransky & Company is a top-producing real estate team that specializes in individual strategy, over-the-top service, and continued success for their clients. They are the real estate easy button. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, call them at 248-563-9449 or email them at admin@stranskyandcompany.com. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff at Stransky & Company. Like I said, man, if you're in the market for a house, they're the guys you need to check out. We're sharing all their listings out off our page, too. So if you're in the market, which Brett probably will be after he wins his belt, yeah, check out Stransky & Company.
Buy a house.
And, yeah, and without any further ado, let's welcome our guest, past guest of the show, multiple past guests.
Third time?
Yeah, third time on the show. We've got Brett Big Dog Martin ahead of his big fight at LFA 77 this Friday. He's about to take him home that heavyweight strap. What up, brother, man?
How we doing?
Not too bad, man. Let the people know where they can find you on all your social media and all that good stuff.
Big Dog 285 on Instagram, and then Brett Martin or Brett Big Dog Martin on Facebook.
Okay. Any sponsors you need to get out there, sir?
No, they all know who they are. You know, I just let them know. I just say how I appreciate them. You know, there's quite a few people, but you know, a lot of them have been with me for most of my career.
Definitely.
So. Clearly you've been making moves since the last time we talked to you. Tell us a little bit about what's went into things since obviously the finish to your last fight wasn't necessarily what you wanted, but hey, it's a W. It got you here to this title fight. Tell me what's gone into this camp and your thoughts on fighting for, you know, your first major mainstream world title at this point.
Yeah, obviously after the last fight, I sat down and, got to talk with my family and hang out with some people. And, I kind of started to understand the blessing that it was that, I got the W because a lot of guys lose fights, to illegal strikes where the referee doesn't, make the correct call. So at least I kind of, got out on the good end of things, and it sets me up for this opportunity to fight Daniel James, who's, a pretty notable guy. And obviously, the title is another awesome thing to add to the fact of fighting Daniel James. Because, just if it was just a normal fight, it would still be awesome to add that to my resume. But on top of it, to add an LFA, world championship, that should, open up some doors, I feel like, that, aren't open yet, so to speak.
So for people that didn't get a chance to see your last fight, can you tell the people what happened in that fight and what the controversy was?
I think the main controversy that most people didn't understand what exactly was going on during the fight, because they couldn't hear the commentating at the fight. All they were doing was kind of like drinking, yelling, and booing, because they don't really understand the rule. I guess you'd say the rule base of the fight.
Right.
Yeah, I the first 30 seconds was kind of his way. He threw a big low kick, and I kind of tried to pick my leg up to check it, like as 99% of Muay Thai fighters would do. And it kind of spun me around, and then he hit me with a couple big shots. I kind of backed off a little bit, and then gathered a little bit, and then the next 20 seconds I threw a couple overhands, kind of bull rushed him, got in on a shot, put him up against the cage, and then he threw like 6 downward elbows. And those are already a pretty sketchy thing to throw.
Right.
just for the fact that they're either going to be 12-6 or they're going to hit in the back of the head unless you're throwing them completely to the ear. So maybe his first one was pretty close. I rewatched the fight. The first one was pretty close. But I'd say it was probably five to six elbows, and then the ref didn't stop it there. He kind of like warned him twice in that instance. He said, "Hey, watch the back of the head," and then he came back in and physically warned him. Kind of pointed to the back of his head and said, like, put his finger up and said, like, "No, don't do that."
Right.
So, because obviously the guy didn't speak English that well because he was from Brazil. But I mean, you have a guy. He had his what's it called, interpreter or whatever it is, or
right.
the guy that. Yeah, translator. Yeah, he had his translator with him in the locker room. And the night before the fights. You get told the rules many times.
Right.
So I took a shot after. Yeah, I was kind of in a bear hug after the elbows. He circled off the cage. I tried to finish on a shot, and then he threw probably 5 or 6 more illegal blows. Literally the top of the crown of my head.
Wow.
So they were obvious strikes. So the ref stopped it. Kind of asked me if I needed to see the doctor. I didn't answer him. I'm a professional. I'm not stupid. I keep my mouth shut until I gather myself. There's guys in the UFC that don't even do that yet, but that's a different conversation.
Right.
But yeah, I just kind of stood up, and the doc came in. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine, man. Just trying to gather myself." And then the referee comes over and asks how I'm doing. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, man." He could tell I was really frustrated, just because I'm a very intelligent fighter, man. So I put myself in a lot of good situations for a reason. And when I'm on shots or I'm in a bear hug, I have my head tucked in a certain spot so that I know I can't get striked, and I kept getting hit in those situations where, this is like I think that was like my 9th or 10th professional fight. So, I was getting hit in areas I've never been hit before. So it was just more of like, I was overwhelming, so to speak.
Right.
So yeah, the ref stopped it, took 2 points, and clearly said to him, if it happens again, I'm going to DQ you. So then the fight restarted. I threw an overhand. It caught his kick at the same time. He fell down. I was on top for like a minute. He hit like a really good roll from north-south. He was very long, so I kind of underestimated how long he was. He did a very nice roll from north-south, got on top, and then I went knee, kind of base down to my base to get ready to stand up. And as soon as I did that, he threw like 3 or 4 more shots. Once again, right to the crown of my head.
Wow.
So the ref, obviously stopped it, and I didn't even realize the ref had stopped it until probably 3-4 minutes after that. I thought he had just stopped in the fight and then going to take points again, and then I was going to get to keep fighting. Because I didn't hear that he said he was going to DQ him, in the fight. I wasn't, I was, like I said, I was so overwhelmed. I was morally just trying to keep fighting and be intelligent in all those situations.
So obviously, like we've talked about, I mean, that fight didn't go the way you wanted to, but again, a W is a W, So what does that do for your mindset as you head into this fight now, where whether it be the way you wanted it or not, it's still a W, you're still fighting for the title. What does that do for you mindset-wise? Does that give you like any sort of like chip on your shoulder to where you feel like you need to, prove something in this fight? Or is it just for you winning the title is going to be proof enough?
Yeah, it's one of those things where if I was a shredded heavyweight like some of these guys I've been fighting, I don't think it would be a question on anything. But since I am who I am, a lot of people were throwing a lot of shade, like saying I was getting my ass kicked and blah 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 and this and that. But it doesn't really say anything about my fighting style. If you look at my resume, there's not very many guys in the game that have a resume like me, man. I got a lot of wins with not a lot of losses. So it doesn't matter what you look like. If you don't show up to fight, I'm going to make you pay for it. So not really a different shit, man. I've been out here proving, that I'm great, since I started. So, same mindset, just, happy to be able to get back in here and face an opponent that I know is, respectful. I'm not saying that Hennon wasn't respectful or was dirty or wasn't dirty. I just know that I'm getting in there with another professional that, understands the rules and is going to come to, put on a show the way it's supposed to be done.
So, well, it kind of leads into a question I had. Is there any hard feelings with you and Hennon? Would you want to fight him again, down the line, or are you putting that basically in the past and moving past that whole situation?
Oh, no, I'm not one of those people that takes a W like that and goes running somewhere with it. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, my resume speaks for itself. I don't have no bullshit wins on my resume until then. So, I would love to do that fight again. Hopefully it's in the UFC where it belongs. You know what I mean? Because he's a pretty tough guy. He just demolished a dude for LFA like a couple weeks ago. So if there's anybody that, another guy that deserves to be there, it's obviously him. Why are they bringing him all the way over here? Same kind of thing as me. Right. So if it was to happen, I'd rather be there for the money that it's supposed to be for, and maybe a couple more translators, maybe some people that can actually physically help him, because I don't really know much about the guy. I didn't get to. Yeah, it was just I don't know what it was. I don't know if he was dirty. I just tried to fight, and if it was to happen again, hopefully it's under a different promotion. Maybe I was kind of upset with the way LFA handled it. One of their guys was pretty upset. I don't know if you've seen it. He was in the cage yelling at the referee and stuff, and I think that was kind of bullshit, because that's the fighter's life, not his. So whether he likes what happens or not, that's something that is discussed behind closed doors like a professional. But at the end of the day, your emotions kind of speak. So I don't really care if it happens or doesn't happen, but I'm not scared to fight the guy again. I would love to fight the guy again, because then when I beat him, I can shush up a lot of the people in maybe Brazil that are the ones that are talking shit.
So with that being said, you and I and Devin has seen plenty of it as well. At this point, man, if you've been around the Michigan scene, you already know that not everybody always acts like a professional. So, win or lose, man, you got the W on that one. The question I have next is, so you mentioned that you'd like to see that fight happen, maybe under a different promotion or things. When you win this title, and if you get this W this weekend, what do you see this as like your last fight before, UFC or Bellator or one of them comes calling? Is it something where you want to stay with LFA for a little bit? Like what are your thoughts on it? And especially with all the guys from Michigan that have been getting signed from UFC right now.
My thing is, if I go in here and finish Daniel like I'm planning on, the UFC can't tell me, what do I have that nobody else has? I feel like I'll have the best resume of anybody in the world. You know what I mean? They'll be a 3-time world champion. They're saying they need heavyweights. I'm 25 years old. I'll be 9-1 with 3 world titles. My resume, like I said, my resume speaks for itself. So if the UFC doesn't come calling, then, pretty much I'm open to whatever. LFA just lost Access TV, which is a big reason of why I'm there.
Oh shit, they did lose Access TV. Wow. I didn't know
that's
that.
A big thing. That's kind of a big thing that's been going on behind closed doors, and I'm not mad at LFA or upset, but I got to take 2 days off of my actual job. I have to, pay for all the extra stuff that doesn't get paid for by them, for my family and all my fans and my coaches and my, everybody to get out there. And, to lose that is huge for me, because I make way more money fighting in Grand Rapids.
So then if they're not on Access TV, how do people check this fight out? Because that makes sense, and I'll tell you.
Man, I've been scrambling trying to figure that out. They won't even. Wow. I'm the main event, and they haven't even told me. I know absolutely nothing about streaming live, nothing. Just
I don't know
blank.
If you noticed, because we tagged you in the tweet to promote the show, but now it makes sense. So LFA retweeted our tweet to put out that we were having you come on the show, but then I noticed that they unretweeted it. And now I know why. Because I tagged that it was going to be on Access TV, because I didn't know it wasn't going to be.
Wow.
Because they hadn't announced anything that said it wasn't on Access TV.
Well, and that's the thing, is I found out if it wasn't for my brother. My brother's pretty up to date. He pays attention to a lot of MMA, so he had seen a post and sent it to me, I think last week sometime. So for us to have to find out that way is shitty as well.
That is.
Like I said, man, it's the fight world, and I'm not going to try to point fingers. I've been in a shitty situation with knockout promotions before, so I'm trying to stay as professional as possible. But at the end of the day, I think they'll understand my debate, because I make, almost double the money fighting in my hometown, and I don't have to miss work. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, if anything, man, it's still a big opportunity for you, because you already know that the UFC looks at them and stuff like that. So it might be, this to me looks like it's one of those situations that's going to shape up to, you might not make as much on the front end with the monetary end of it, but what you gain in the exposure with the UFC looking at it,
Well, and that's the only reason we went there. But, the UFC is going to see me perform no matter where I fight. But the only reason I was there was for the fact that it was building my brand, get me on the world scene.
For sure.
It was easy for people to find it. So, I mean, it's also the business aspect. It's not like it used to be where you have to go to these promotions to get to the UFC. If I knock somebody out in Grand Rapids and it's one of the best knockouts in the world with a head kick or, anything that, or even a sweet sub, they're gonna respect that. And as long as it's good opponents, they're not going to give a shit where it's at.
Right.
I was more using this as like to build my brand.
Totally.
So, I mean, I'm not upset because, like I said, man, to have this belt tied to it is a huge thing. And the fact that it's Daniel James, that's somebody that I've been on, he's been on my radar for a couple of years. He's a great guy. I mean, why not? So I'm just saying, moving forward, I don't really have plans now because of the fact that we don't even know what LFA has planned.
So, with that being said, man, like, with the last Stipe Cormier fight, you had kind of like a little bit of resurgence for the heavyweights and stuff like that. With the current landscape of how the MMA heavyweight division is right now, both in the UFC and Bellator, where do you see being the best fit for you?
Oh, I mean, if I beat Daniel, I want to be in the UFC, and I don't think I should have much time to be getting played around with. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm in the top 50 best guys in the world right now. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm far off of that. I'm already ranked over some of the guys that are even fighting in the UFC. I've already beat some guys that have lost to guys that are in the UFC, and I've already beat guys that are, competing in Bellator. So I have the resume. I don't think it's a matter of where I belong. I think everybody knows where I belong. It's just I got to keep winning these fights and doing the best to promote myself like a professional.
No argument there.
All right, well, we got a question from Facebook, and it's a guy I happen to know a little bit, Mr. Seeth. He wants to know, well, first, Brett, do you remember your first knockout?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what he wants to know is when you knock out a fighter for the first time, do you feel like, oh, shit, I hope he's okay, or you get really, really excited after you knock someone out for the first time?
I guess it just depends on what kind of stylistic of a fight it was. My first knockout was actually one of my, wrestling buddies that I grew up with. So obviously at first I was a little worried and upset, but there was a lot of animosity between us. So, I mean, obviously you're excited as well.
So I have to ask, just because of the way it happened. So, you had the big thing with Yair Rodriguez and Jeremy Stevens and all that this weekend with the eye poke and all that stuff. What are your thoughts on, and I'd love to hear this come straight from you because I've had a few people have asked me about this in the last couple of weeks because there's been stoppages that have been questionable by refs where refs either stopped it too quick or people felt like they let it go too long, like the Justin Gaethje fight. He was looking at the ref like, what the fuck with the Cowboy fight. Can you speak a little bit to what that's like when you get somebody hurt for those that maybe don't understand it? Because you always see people, well, oh, he hit him when he was already done. And I always try to tell people, like, dude, you're always taught you hit somebody until they pull you off. Can you explain that for those that don't know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I just seen a study. It was like the average man is like 4,000 times better in his head than he is like in an actual fight. You know what I mean? So it's just like
so
that.
accurate.
So, I mean, as a fan, you got a lot of people that get to sit out in the stands and they're drinking and they're watching fights. So when you're watching fights, your confidence level has to be high because you don't want to seem like like a sissy or anything. For most people. So I mean, a lot of it is just the animosity comes from the people out in the crowd not really understanding what's going on in the cage. You know what I mean? So if you ever competed in a sport, you've ever refereed a sport or like kids' sports, you kind of understand that, shit's going to happen. So, with me growing up wrestling, I'm so used to, things happen so fast and there's going to be times where referees make mistakes. There's going to be times where you make mistakes. There's going to be people saying things and you saying things. It's always very emotional, definitely when you're in like a fight because a fight's not like any other sport in the world. You feel like you're about to die. You feel like you're fighting for your life. That's how fighting is.
I think. So, did you ever see Joe Rogan's explanation on like jiu-jitsu before? Like it was a video came out maybe like a year ago, and like
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, like I feel like Devin. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Go and I don't know what.
Well, break it down real quick for the people that haven't.
In a nutshell, man, it's like a video where you got Joe Rogan talking in the background, but it's got like different people rolling like in jiu-jitsu, like different positions and things like that. And like he basically broke it down in like the most simple like an easy way for anybody to understand that I've ever heard. He was like,
Which
"Look, dude,"
he's really great at doing
he's
that.
like, essentially, dude,
Yeah, Joe
you're
Rogan's
practicing
extremely good.
how to kill each other. Like, because he goes, think of it. He goes, people are like, yeah, you only caught him in an armbar, but think about it in a real fight scenario.
If there's no referee there.
If you and I are fighting and I snap your arm in half, who's got the advantage now? Because
Right.
you've only got one arm.
Yeah. No, jiu-jitsu, definitely, like, if you watch high-level competing jiu-jitsu, it's just such a different animal, man. It's almost savage.
It really
Like,
is, because the
and
way
that's why-
those
and
dudes
that's why
snag
you
it.
get- That's why I don't understand why, like, if you see a lot of people that go through, like, if you've seen some fighters go through the situation that I just went through, like, they would probably make a lot bigger of a deal than I did. You know what I mean? A lot of people make big deals out of shit nowadays.
Yeah.
That really isn't anything. So I think a lot of it's built upon where you grew up and, how you were raised and how you were born. Sometimes people, like, when you fight guys like, Masvidal, when he says, what do you mean? He's taught to fight. His whole life he's fought until he couldn't fight no more. So, until somebody pulls him off or somebody tells him not to fight anymore. So, you can't expect a guy like that after you run your mouth to him to give you any kind of respect.
I couldn't
So-
agree more. So now that
I think a lot of it is these people don't understand that if this is the fight world, and if you're not in it, you'll never truly understand it.
So with you going in this fight with Daniel James, obviously, I think you would say this is probably your biggest fight to date. Obviously, what are your thoughts on the matchup, and what problems do you think that he presents? And or do you see any stylistic, things at all?
I think the biggest thing that he brings is, just the fact that one thing that you can't go away from is when men are grown, when guys are 35, 36 years old, these guys they've been through the bunk and back, everything that could happen to somebody in those amount of years, most people have been through, so one thing I don't ever, shy away from is, I think he's a dad too, you know what I mean? So when you have kids, it's a different grit, it's a different grind. So one thing I never overlook at the heavyweight division is the fact that a lot of these guys are grown men. So when you're going in against grown men, they're not just going to break. So you got to kind of be prepared to go to deep water. And I know Daniel's shown that in a lot of his fights. So I definitely know I'm fighting a tough dude. He presents about the same thing any heavyweight presents. He's super strong, super powerful, pretty durable. So I think this is pretty much any kind of a fight fan would like this fight, because he's not terrible on the ground and he's good on his feet. So.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I just pretty much excited for the fact of, it's like the Hennon fight. I was more excited or upset that the fight stopped because I knew I was in a good fight. You know what I mean? And those are the type of fights where you get to test yourself and, it truly builds the character and turns you into a complete different animal, for the future. And like I said, man, I'm only 25 years old, so those are the type of fights I want to get into now so that when I'm 35 and 35 and my kids are here, like Daniel Cormier says, I want my kids to see me winning. So I kind of can relate to that, and I understand that, and I don't ever want my family to feel like I don't belong. So I want to get those fights out now, so that way when I'm in the UFC and I get in those dog fights, I've been there before and I know how to beat dudes there.
Didn't you just get engaged recently?
Yeah.
I thought so.
She's sitting right next to me.
I thought so. I thought I saw that, man. Congratulations on that
Congrats,
stuff.
man.
So you're already on the first steps of the whole family thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so Big Dog's making grown man moves, I see.
Yeah, we try to, man. We try to. We got a house together about, I think a year ago now, a little over a year ago. So.
Oh, so he already bought a house, Kyle.
I mean, shit. Damn it, Stransky. I was trying to put you on, but he beat me to it. Don't say I didn't try.
I might get a bigger one soon. So.
Hey, hit Stransky up.
Okay. I'll remember that.
Appreciate it.
Please do.
They're the reason why we do this now.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. Big Dog knows about sponsorships.
I was gonna say, you know
about
you know the
sponsorships
deal,
more
bro.
than anybody.
Oh yeah, I got a couple of them that definitely for this fight they come through. They really do. They're also any kind of a sponsorship is beautiful, but there's definitely those certain few people that you can hit up and they always pull through really big for definitely my couple people. They're always pulling through pretty big for my career.
Definitely. Well, the question that I had is, usually whenever we have someone coming in that's getting ready for a fight, we like to give them the opportunity to say anything to their opponent that, they would like to say. So, I mean, the more controversial you make it, the better for us. But, any words for your opponent coming up this Friday?
Oh, no, I don't talk no shit, so you're never going to get that one out of me.
We already know.
I know. I try.
No, I'm excited, because like I say, you always get those fights with the guys talk a lot of shit, but you always like the fights where you see two very humble, warriors get ready to, go to war. And I know Daniel James is coming to put on a show for his people in Chicago, and I'm coming to put on my people, a show for my people here in Grand Rapids, in my hometown in Hesperia. Michigan versus Chicago, kind of like a border war.
Right.
For two top prospects in America. So I mean, it's exciting, and I'm happy. And like I said before, I wouldn't want it to be anybody else, just for the fact that I know what he does for his community, and I idolize that, and hopefully we can use each other to boost our brands.
So before we let you get out of here, I'm gonna ask you something a little bit off of your fight. So when you're not fighting, obviously, you're getting to that point where you're knocking on the UFC's door. When you've got fights coming up like a Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, how intently are you watching those fights? And with them announcing that Cormier said his last fight is going to be against Stipe, who do you got and why?
I'd say I've definitely been watching the UFC a little bit more closely, probably the last year and a half, 2 years. Definitely since I got in my house, I definitely watched it a lot more close. And I've always been somebody to, if I'm watching something, no matter what sport it is, I kind of break it down and, always try to find the best way of thinking about how I could do it. So It's always been that way. So I enjoy watching the UFC fights, and, I respect every fighter, and definitely the heavyweight division, just for the fact of, I know I could face some of these guys in the future. But seeing Daniel go out is a sad one, just for the fact of he's kind of the wrestling stylistic. He's a short guy like me. He's a chunky guy like me. You know what I mean? He's funny like me. He's pretty intelligent like me. So, I mean, Daniel's always been I liked him at 205, but, I didn't like that he was a 205 because I'm a heavyweight. So, obviously, when he made the transition back to heavyweight, it kind of slid him back into, my favorite heavyweight over Stipe. Because I've always liked Stipe as well because he's a wrestler. So, watching the first fight, I was a little sad to see Stipe get clipped like that, just because you never want to see a good champion lose. But then I felt even worse, watching Daniel lose. But at the same time, it was nice to see Stipe being as happy as he used to be. So it's always sad to see one guy lose, but I probably have to go with Cormier just because I think he's going to come in with a better game plan and not try to play that stupid touch chansy game he was playing with somebody that's that much longer and kind of a power puncher. You just got to stay away from that heavyweight. You can't play into other people's game.
Definitely. Well, Brett, good luck this Friday, man. Definitely looking forward to seeing that fight somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck? Usually we're telling you where to watch the fight, but I mean, clearly
yeah, I'm guessing they're gonna stream it on their Facebook page. They're gonna have to. Otherwise they're gonna lose. I feel like they're gonna lose a lot of love. You know what I mean, from their people if they don't at least give them the live feed for this one, because this is a pretty big fight. So,
right.
And then not to mention that some of the other guys that are on the card, Kalen Holtz from, Minnesota, Wisconsin area, that is, I think it's Jonas Falk I think it's Jonas Falk. He's on the card. He's fought in Grand Rapids before. He's a stud. And I think he's from Wisconsin, or I think he trains with Kalen's gym. So, there's some other really good studs, up and comers on this card. So I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands of people that want to see it. So
right.
They're going to have to figure something out.
Well, when they announce something, make sure to you stay tuned to all of our social media. We'll make sure to get that shared out, too, because Friday is a big night for us, isn't it, Devin?
Definitely. Huge.
We've not only got you about to go home and take a title, and we've got another past guest of the show who's going to head over the pond there to Dublin and kick Ben Henderson's ass. So, yeah, man, it's a big day for us here at Knockouts and Three Counts. Hopefully, we can be reporting to you guys that our guests went and showed out over here.
Definitely, but
heck yeah, that's definitely the plan.
Yeah, whenever you find out where this fight is going to be, make sure you shoot us a message.
Yeah,
we'll
text me and I'll make sure I got it up on the thing.
Yeah. And I'll probably do a live video once I'm down there, and I'll make sure to tag you guys in it. That way, it's on your page as well.
Bet it up.
Appreciate it. Well, speaking of social media, why don't you let the people know where they can find you and any sponsors you need to get out there, and any last words you need the people to hear?
Yeah, thank you to obviously all my teammates, my training partners for the camp, and my management company, all my sponsors, definitely my family, my fiance, and I'm on Facebook at Brett Big Dog Martin, and my Instagram is BigDog285, or just look up Brett Big Dog Martin and you'll find it. And yeah, obviously thanks to you guys for having me on, and like I said, I'll make sure to keep in touch and let you guys know if where you can stream that fight.
Most definitely, man. We appreciate the support, appreciate the time, man. Go out there and kick some ass this weekend, man.
Hey, Brett, real quick. I'm assuming the wedding's going to be in Muskegon.
I don't know yet. I think our plan is to probably do a barn wedding. I'm from Hesperia, so obviously I'm from the country, and I like that old country style. And I'm going to have a lot of people, so I'm not going to be able to do a small place. So we're probably going to do something either up north or, Muskegon or Grand Rapids area.
Well, hey, I got family in Muskegon and in Grand Rapids, man. So, if you want to throw an invite our way, man, we could definitely stop by, man, partake.
Yeah, definitely.
At least at the reception.
No, that's my plan. My plan is to kind of do, we already talked about it. She knows how it's going to be. So I think our plan is to do like a family wedding, and then, obviously maybe a couple more people at the dinner or the reception. But after probably about 8 or 9 o'clock, it's just going to open up to be like kind of like a party where because obviously all my fighting buddies are just going to want to come drink anyways. They're not going to want to come for all the other kissy and stuff like that.
I like drinking.
Not everybody. Yeah,
we know you like drinking.
Is, not everybody's as quite as lovey-dovey as I am. So.
Right. I mean, no pressure, man. But you got our social media. Invites. Email.
Look at Devin.
I'll definitely make sure to hit you guys.
He's like, I am ready to come drink with you, bro. Let's celebrate the wedding.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, once again, man, appreciate you coming on the show, man. Definitely good luck this Friday, sir.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right,
no problem,
take it easy, man. All clear?
Well, damn.
Holy shit.
Wait, whoa, what's that? That's not Brett. Who is that?
Oh, man, it's Tony motherfucking Thunder. That's who it is.
Tony MF Thunder. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, you can say motherfucking, man. The views and opinions are not expressed by Knockout Supreme. I'm here, though. I've been waiting online for 5 minutes and 54 seconds of y'all asking him more questions. But, y'all doing your job. Y'all have some good questions. You trying to get an invite, Devin, last second. It's not professional at all. But, it's appreciated.
He was like, fuck
that
it.
I got some 3 counts at the wedding.
Hey, Tony, you're not too far from Muskegon, man. You can come too, brother.
Hey, if
you don't know where I'm at. You don't know where I'm at. I'm like Waldo or Carmen Sandiego. You never know where I'm at or what I'm doing.
If only
Don't worry, I'll ask Tekashi 6ix9ine where you are. He'll pinpoint you like that.
You dirty.
So, if only I could have got the video of it. Holy shit, you should have seen what happened the last time he went to a wedding. This fool was in full-on, going.
Man.
When Old Town Road come on, this dude was swinging his Kangol around and was turned up to 10.
Shout out to Harry and Lauren.
Hi. Not the Kango.
He was swinging that bitch around, dude. It was something.
I didn't have a cowboy hat, man, so I had to swing my Kango, man.
Him and Harry were killing it. Other past guests of the show were
Shout out to Harry and Lauren.
Harry was 10 kinds of white boy wasted, but it was still awesome.
Nothing on Drunk Randy.
I mean, I would agree. I would concur. It might not have anything on Drunk Randy, but it was still pretty fucking funny to watch.
The legendary Drunk Randy.
The legendary Drunk Randy.
So, Mr. Thunder, man, real quick, man, what's going on with you, bro? What's going on with you, man?
Man, back AF? Question mark?
Oh.
Huh?
Would you like to elaborate, sir?
You never know, man. Stay tuned. I like wearing shirts and dog tags. So,
You like wearing shirts
and dog tags. Okay, John Cena.
Yeah. We might have some.
He missed it.
He said, "All right, John Cena."
I heard what he said.
Wait, so
John Cena's the greatest wrestler of all time. But anyway,
do we got to stay
Kinda
tuned to your
catchy,
social
yeah.
media to understand that?
I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. Back AF ? That's all I'm gonna say right now. You never know.
So, Tony, you know what happened at this point. For those of you guys that missed it, man, BCWA was a fucking killer show. We got some pretty cool stuff that we're going to be dropping this week. Just stay tuned for that. Definitely going to give you a different look into BCWA than what you're used to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So you're definitely
Welcome back to the show. It's the greatest show on earth. We beating fucking Barnum and Bailey.
So, since we're talking wrestling now, obviously next week we've got AEW is debuting on TNT. You've
Yes,
got
sir.
NXT with their second installment on USA.
Yes, sir.
Tony, what are your thoughts?
Impact debuting on Access
Right.
TV on
Right.
Tuesday.
And now we just found out.
Thank you for mentioning Impact, Devin.
Yes.
yes,
And
tried.
first of all, shout out to
Sounds
Jessica Havoc. I was shooting all the shots in the world because holy shit, if you watched Impact last week, she fucking hung Sue Young from the damn staircase on TV, like full on noose and everything. And
Wow.
I tweeted right as I watched it. I'm
You're
like,
the only one laughing, Kyle.
look here, fuck you. All right. But anyway, it was still dope. But it was.
So yeah, that's what made you shoot your shot. She hung somebody with a
No,
noose,
she's
and that
a
made you
savage.
shoot your
I think
shot.
it'd be a fun
All right.
interview.
You telling a
I
lot
mean-
about yourself, Kyle.
Hey,
well, no, he wasn't saying he's shooting a shot like that, but yeah.
I mean,
Nah.
no, I don't want no
Nah.
smoke
I heard
with
what I
Sandy
heard.
Callahan, bro.
Hey,
I do
right.
not want no smoke.
Hey, Tony.
Kyle said there should be a white entertainment television, everybody.
I didn't hear that part, but I guess so.
hey, Tony. You and me need to have a little.
I agree with him. They already got it. It's called CMT.
What?
All right, so back AF ? That's what. No, okay. We talking about AEW. You wanted to ask me something about this week coming up with the great wrestling in the world.
Yeah,
Going on.
Probably one of the
we were
biggest weeks
asking
in wrestling history.
Right,
coming
we're
up there.
asking what are your thoughts on NXT thus far on USA, and what do you think we'll expect tomorrow with Keith Lee and Donovan Dijakovic running it back tomorrow, and then you've got AEW debuting.
Man. That boy Dijak is a beast, has been for a couple years now. He deserves every opportunity he's getting. As far as the wars go, man, I'm excited for it, man. It's a great time for wrestling. Like, who can't wait to flip their TV back and forth like we used to? Like, that's going to be a great fucking moment. It's flipping that motherfucker back and forth. Like, oh, shit. The great thing, though, is, like, nowadays you're not going to be flipping back and forth between segments. You're going to be flipping back and forth between matches. So that's going to be even tougher, to do. So I'm excited for it, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's something that wrestling has needed for a while now, and I'm glad to have it back.
So I'll throw my thoughts out on it first, but I got to hear both of your thoughts too. So I don't know if you guys have peeped it both on Raw now. It was on Raw. You saw it with the pay-per-view. You saw it with NXT last week. It's so funny how the internet is getting so hyped over the fact that AEW is doing commercials on WWE TV. It's like, are you dumb and thought they wouldn't? Like,
I mean, you're advertising wrestling in the middle of a wrestling show. Why
on
would
the
you do
biggest
that?
wrestling show in the world. It sounds like pretty smart business to me, but it's just funny to see how pissed people have gotten. Like, holy shit, they're taking shots. No, that's just smart
it's
marketing.
It's smart. It's spending your money in good places. Definitely.
What do you think, Tony?
I mean, I don't think there's nothing left to be said.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, Tony. Side note.
That's me.
We're gonna have to have a little conversation after the show about people.
First of all, no. We need to have a conversation right now. What the fuck are you doing there?
I said the same thing.
Well,
I'm like, what the fuck? Is that who I think that is in the room? What the fuck? Your big ass is too
Let's
big to
address
hide, bro.
that.
well, let's just say General Motors is on strike right now.
There's some
strike,
hoes.
strike.
Yeah, so I had some free time, so I'm like, well, fuck it, I might as well come back home. I'm on my way home.
And they trying to replace you with scabs. See how
man.
they carry.
See, You've been following it. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I have.
I mean,
I'm all for UAW, man. I hope y'all.
I really hope that shit.
Nobody
works in your guys'
appreciates
favor,
Tony.
Wow.
dude. Damn, right.
I didn't hear what Randy said, but it was mumbled in between something. I'm sure it was a underhanded, sarcastic comment.
I don't make any other kind.
Close enough.
Exactly. That's all Randy does, man. Randy, look, deep down inside, Randy really hates us, but he has to be here.
Somebody give Randy a lemon.
A lemon. Oh my God, here we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Justin Maine was here last week, man. Wasn't that great?
yeah, Randy
Justin Maine
really
is
loved
Randy's
him some
new
Justy Maine.
favorite.
So,
I need to make a list.
I thought you already did because like
Well, it needs to be an official written down list.
like Randy seriously messaged me like an hour after we got out of the fucking studio. Like this motherfucker's like, please
Wait.
bring him back often.
so
Like
so wait, so here's the question: Justin Maine or
Maul and Adrian.
the Harjabeat brothers?
Ooh. They're all like top 5.
That's not fair. If we got to pick between hot women,
I would say Ermal above Justin,
ooh, I didn't think that was gonna happen.
but they're right next to each other.
All right,
So we got a 1A and a 1B situation.
Yeah, kind of.
Alrighty.
Justin, you should feel honored. Not only did you make the list,
There is no
you
third
made
place
the
there.
honorable
Or
mention.
there's no second place. They're tied for first. How about that?
Hey, yo, in a completely unrelated note, shout out to Johnny Margera.
Who?
I don't.
Is that like Bam Margera's brother or something?
So, Devin?
Maybe.
Devin, what are your thoughts as we go into AEW's debut? What do you think?
Dude, I can't wait for this because this is the beginning of the actual judging of this whole situation. People have been trying to say, oh, well, AEW is going to put them out of business and this and that. Like, this is where we can actually start having a real conversation. And honestly, it's not even then, but
I think NXT go win this first round,
But yeah, that's the thing. Like even this isn't really the beginning of the conversation, but at least we actually have something that we can actually watch
Judge it
now
on, yeah.
and judge it on. Yeah, but you got to realize like AEW is going to take them a while to get their footing under them because they're a brand new company. They're going to be learning on the fly. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they put out there, especially the first time around. Mr. Thunder, you've been letting some people know about a potential rumored main event for that card. I don't know how true that is.
I don't dirt sheet out loud.
I don't dirt sheet out loud.
Okay, well, we'll leave that alone.
Yeah,
But,
but I
Don't
mean,
put me in that position no more, Devin. Never again.
My bad.
That was just a little something for y'all. 'Cause I was like, oh, I heard this. Y'all like rumors. Boom. What y'all think about this? But since my sources are usually good and clean, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say it, but if it happens, y'all know, and then we can say, yo, that boy Thunder.
look, straight
No
up,
shit.
if it happens, I'll give you all the props in the world because I'd like to see it. But
Right.
just judging off of what I heard in Chicago, I don't see it.
But yeah, well, since the rest of the audience doesn't know what we're talking about, we'll leave that alone. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they put out there their first time around. Man.
I mean, at the very least, dude, it creates something that I think is desperately needed in wrestling as a whole, and I think that's where
Viable competition.
right, not only the competition, but what I was going to say is it's literally got it to where it's something that's genuinely new, so you want to see what's going to happen with it. That to me I think is the most exciting part of it, but I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that AEW, it's going to take them a while to be able to get up to where NXT is.
Right.
Because if last week was any...
But see, here's the issue with that. Are they going to be able to keep the viewers while in the trial and error stage?
True. Yeah, because, I mean, everybody's going to watch that first episode. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if AEW destroys NXT that first week. But what are you
My
going to...
granny is anti anything against the WWE, and my granny's about to watch AEW.
Right.
And I don't think just me. I don't think they're going to keep her attention.
Yeah, I can understand because that's not necessarily her. She's not going to get all the references that the AEW is going to throw out there, and you're gonna.
Well, see, they have a cult following and they have a target demographic, and that's who they're going to be catering to. So the outside viewers and the millions of people that are watching, as okay, let me see what this is, may not be as interested, especially with them just now turning the wheels on the production and TV and everything that goes with that.
Right. Yeah, 'cause basically, if you've been watching WWE and not even NXT, if you've been watching WWE your whole life, AEW might not be your cup of tea. Just like your granny. I don't know if your granny watches NXT.
Well, I mean, if you look at the fans of WWE who checked out WCW, some became WCW fans. You got the WWE fans who checked out TNA and they became TNA fans. There will be fans that make the switch, but for the majority of fans who like the WWE for what it is, they're not going to turn to AEW the way most of them turn to WCW. Because not many turn to TNA the way they turn to WCW. So AEW is going to have to, they obviously know they're not competing with WWE. They're competing with NXT. So that in its own right is going to be.
That's what I was going to say real quick. Like, even though, there's WWE fans, WWE has given you an alternative that is geared towards your 18 to 35-year-old male,
and it's actually good
in NXT, and it's good as fuck, and they've established that they're good. So, Kyle, what was you about to say?
Well, first of all, I want to know, Tony Thunder, why the fuck are you holding out on us? Because according to Seath, Tony Thunder is the new number we used to call back in the day for spoilers in wrestling. Why are you holding out, bro?
You got a 1-800 number, man?
I used to.
So now that we've
was 1-900-909-9900.
So now that we've covered the AEW side of things, what are your thoughts so far on what we've seen of NXT? Now that they've announced that obviously the first week it was split an hour on USA, an hour on the network because of Suits. They've announced once that goes, it's going to be a full 2 hours on USA. What are your thoughts on what we saw? I, for one, thought that I was pleasantly surprised because I'll be honest with you, maybe it's jumping the gun, but I thought with them going to USA, I'm like, fuck, please don't let them water this down. What were your thoughts on the first week of NXT, Tony, and what do you think we're going to see come tomorrow?
I like it. I think the second hour should be on TV and the first should be on the network, but that's just my opinion. The match with Rush and, Tony
Lurkin.
Man, that match.
Fucking awesome,
I was thinking of Biff. Now I'm like, okay, I know it's not Biff. What the fuck? Yeah, that match was damn good. You want the fans to see that. You want them to surprise them with, hey, Lio Rush is back, and you know him from Raw. Look what he can actually do in the ring instead of just annoying you on the microphone,
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. I think they should have saved that second hour for TV.
I, for one, man, was happy to see Lio Rush back in there and to see him show out. But, dude, that slap that Oni Lorcan hit Lio Rush in the fucking mouth with. Dog.
Oni's no. I love it when he does it. When he grabs you by your jaw and starts slapping the hell out of you, man.
And his facial when he does it, too. He just looks like a fucking crazy-ass savage and just smacks the shit.
Man, but Leo went out there to prove. I mean, he went out there to remind people, like, I can do this. I'm not just a mouthpiece. I can do this wrestling thing, man. And he did.
I loved it,
For
dude.
sure.
I did not see him showing up on NXT. When I heard that, I'm like, oh shit, that's dope. Like, and now that there's rumor that Cesaro and Kevin Owens are going back there too, boy.
Right. But see, here, the question I have about NXT now is like, okay, so NXT is going to be on USA, right? You had Walter and Imperium show up, right? You had Lio Rush performing on NXT. That was a number one contendership match for the 205.
205.
Yeah, for the Cruiserweight Championship. So what happens to NXT UK and 205 Live? Are they just going to be, basically bouncing back?
It's one. It's going to become one.
Right. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it going to be one or?
That's what the second hour is for.
But are they still going to show UK and 205 Live on the network too?
They're not killing UK by no means.
Well, not killing.
See, here's my thing. Here's my thing. You got like 3 titles. Well, you got 2 titles with NXT. You got your UK, and then you got your 205, which is your special division. That's the typical structure of a brand, you know. As far as the UK division and 205 division being their own division with NXT, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it brings something more to the 2-hour event than just NXT. I think the NXT UK will still do, you know, their own special shows and maybe like pay-per-views and stuff like that, maybe even 205. But as far as the 2-hour show, I think there is going to be all three brands. And they already, Triple H, I guess, announced or had his publicist announce or whatever that they were incorporating 205 into NXT. And he didn't say it, but from what I got from it, they'll eventually be killing the brand.
Well, if that's the case, what's the point of having the network? Because, I mean, honestly, NXT was the draw for me getting the network. And now I can watch that on, you know, USA.
Pay-per-views.
And all the other, like the Chronicle,
special,
and the
special
24
shows.
shit. And,
Yeah.
Well, as far as pay-per-view goes, you can come to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Hell yeah, we're going to be out
there.
there for Hell in a Cell as well. And make sure you're there for Survivor Series. We always give some good shit away yet. Don't know what yet, but we're going to give some good shit away.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Come spend your $10 on a drink or something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, free entry, though. Free entry.
So, since we're talking about Hell in a Cell, before we get out of here, Devin, you and I talked about it a little bit. Tony, what are your thoughts on The Fiend and him going against Seth Rollins?
Man, I know some people are saying that they're jumping the gun, it's too soon, but they've been building Wyatt for years now. And this character is refreshing. It's new. It's what he's needed to skyrocket. And he's got the whole world in his hands right now. So I think they should take advantage of it while it's still hot. We've seen times before where something to get hot in the WWE is sit on it, and then it loses its flash and becomes Braun Strowman. So you got to run with the Fiend while he's hot. That's just what I think. I would love to see Bray run with the title and actually do something with it. So I'm all for it.
I totally agree with you, but I can't lie to you. I was one.
So you don't totally agree.
I agree with you that I'd love to see him run with Bray Wyatt with the title, but I can't even lie to you, dude. When they put him in a title match that quick, I was excited about it, but my first thought was,
What do you mean? What do you mean that quick? He's been with the company for how long now?
Yeah, but
he's
the
not
Fiend
a new.
thing.
It's not a new guy. It's Bray Wyatt. It's not like, oh, he's a completely different person under some weird thing, and we don't know who he is. That's Bray Wyatt. He's been Bray Wyatt for 5-6 years now.
How many matches have you seen with the Fiend?
What does that matter? He's Bray Wyatt.
No, it's
a different character.
This is a different character.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If Dean Ambrose returned to the WWE as Jon Moxley, is he a different character now who doesn't deserve a title run? Oh wait, we don't know what he can do. He's Jon Moxley. We don't know if he deserves a title run. It's too quick to give him a belt. Well, didn't Goldberg come in? Okay, he's a legend. I get that.
Right.
But this is Bray Wyatt. He's built himself and his character and his brand for so long now, and just because he took time off means like, oh, it's too soon for him to get a title run?
What? No,
I don't get that.
No.
Like Edge came back from a neck injury and went straight after Gold and got it. Like that's what I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what's going on.
So my question would be this. Okay, so what would be the best result at Hell in a Cell when he faces Seth Rollins?
He wins.
Okay, he wins, right? So basically, going into it, he has to win this match, or basically you just killed the build-up of the Fiend, right?
Basically.
So, okay, after he wins it, then what?
Now that's exactly what. Now you want to see what? Now you're interested. Whoa, this guy just came back, and with this new character just took over and won the belt. Now who the fuck is going to stop him? He's been taking out everybody.
And that's
what are they going to do next? Now that's what you want to see. That's the whole point. If Seth wins, now what? You don't care as much as seeing, wait, what the fuck? Now I got to see what happens because Bray got the fucking title. Who's to say he won't even win the title? He might do some weird shit and just beat the fuck out of Seth and leave. Like, oh, I had to prove a point type of shit. Like, him losing does nothing. Him winning does a lot more, in my opinion, in my eyes, that's just my opinion.
I'm with you on that one. I think he's got to win that match. But like you said, it makes you want to watch, and this is why you need to watch Knockouts and 3 Counts next week. We're going to talk about our picks for Hell in a Cell. We're going to be there.
Wait, I just got here.
I know, man.
I know.
They're telling us it's time to go home.
That's my James Brown impression. No, it's not Bay. It's Randy, and he's gonna hang up on me like usual in the middle of me talking, and I hate it.
Well, before he hangs up, man, why don't you go ahead and throw your social media out there, man?
I hung up.
Ain't that a motherfucker,
Oh, man.
You can find him at Tony Thunder, Tony Thunder on Snapchat, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Go to ko3cpod.com.
All of it's up there.
Media. Yeah. Hey, shout out to Stransky, man.
Hell yeah.
I'm Tony Thunder on everything. I'm Tony Thunder on Facebook.
Tony
Thunder
made
on
it
Instagram,
back.
Snapchat. Follow me. I'm Tony Thunder. Google me.
Welcome back, Tony.
Oh, he hung up now.
He said, fuck you. I'm shutting the phone off. But you can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Detroit Knockout, at Detroit Knockout. Make sure you follow the show, Knockouts and 3 Counts Podcast, Facebook, Knockouts and 3 Counts on YouTube, and at KO3CPod on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me on Twitter at Devin63. That's DEVINTHE63. You can find me on Instagram at All Steak No Scissors, one word. Make sure you check out the Reality Era News page on Facebook where we talk wrestling. We'll talk more about The Fiend and whatever happened on SmackDown today and all that good stuff.
And if you want to talk about it in person, all the more reason you should come out to B-Dubs so you can talk shit with us.
Yes, B-Dubs.
Our intro music tonight was More, More, More by Punch Deck.
Yeah, shout out to Punch Deck.
Punch what?
Deck.
Oh.
I did not say punch dick, if that's what you thought. Although
that
for
would
Ken
be-
Brass, since I know you listen to this motherfucker all the time, yes, if that big-ass middle schooler was running at me, I would kick that motherfucker in the dick and wouldn't think twice about it. The guy's a 6'5", 325-pound running back in 8th grade. And the meme said, if this guy's running at you, what are you going to do? I'm going to kick him in the dick.
But you do that to everybody. But
I do. You make it like I just walked down the street.
You
Fuck
literally-
you,
He's
fuck
so
you.
short he can't reach any higher.
I can reach your chin.
he just punches. He punch. Never mind. Yeah. Well, you're a quarterback in this thing, man. You go ahead.
I think we pretty much said everything we need to say on this one. Make sure you check out Knockouts and 3 Counts next week. We're going to be talking about our picks for Hell in a Cell. We'll talk about the first week of AEW. Yeah, man, all kinds of stuff going on next week. Make sure you tune in. And if that's all for us, fuck yo couch.
Peace.